Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. This video is probably going to come out only a few hours after the last one. And if you haven't watched it, it talks about ammo and how a private commission was done saying that the U.S. would probably run out of its major weapon system munitions. The max time frame they gave them was a month. Saw another article. This one was done by a different group. I don't quite know how much from what I know, I don't completely believe it. But in the article, it talks about, at the very least, it would be an even fight in the South China Sea if the United States were to go to war with China. They basically say, the U.S. is making a lot more expensive and better purchases, which as a result means, another article just said that it was the second F-35C combat wing that was, being put on an aircraft carrier. It's combat ready. The second one. If I'm being honest, I don't really know how many are in a combat wing. I think it's like 20. But it's not a lot. And the article talked about that China is taking more of a quantity over quality approach. They're still increasing the spending on their military, but say the U.S. builds a destroyer that's capable of taking out, let's just say 100, PT boats. Well, China knows, this is the rough estimate of how many PT boats it would take them to take out a destroyer, and they're spending less money to do so. So they make 150 of the boats at the same price that it takes us to build one destroyer. And they can build it a lot quicker, and it's a quantity over quality. We have known for a very, very long time that China's army, like physical size, is bigger than the U.S. Let's take a quick glance at the gasoline price. Still $2.77. That's the cheapest within like 50 miles of where I'm at. But they have more personnel, but we've had, fancier equipment. I kind of think that's why the U.S. is stepping away from the 5.56 round and going to the 6.8 by 51, which I looked at the ballistics of the round, and it's packing just under 3 times the grain value of 5.56, but from an accuracy standpoint, it has more velocity than a 308 once it hits its 1,000-meter mark, or I think at the very beginning 308 is still faster, but covering distance, its velocity is maintained longer, and it shoots a more straighter shot instead of having that traditional curve up and then kind of curve back down at a certain distance. Uh, this commission did suggest that the U.S. should spend money on, maintaining the fleet that we have, because the U.S. has the largest navy in the world. But what they also suggested to help deal with the Chinese threat, which kind of gets into a quantity over quality situation, is more focus on their drone capability. I think a large portion of the world has really, gears are turning in people's heads on, what they can use drones for even more, based off of what's going on in Ukraine. And I was watching a podcast the other day saying people aren't so worried that Iran's going to build a nuke. What they should be worried about is the same money that it would take for them to build one nuclear weapon. They could build like 50,000 drones. And, the one nuke has a 99% chance of getting knocked down. But in Israel, there was like a 400 drone strike. And I think they said like 8.5% of them were able to get through, just because the system couldn't handle so many coming at you at once. So it suggested that. It also suggested that other partners in the area should step up their capabilities, which I don't think I mentioned it in the other video, talking about the whole munition situation. But they also suggested that, NATO and other Western allies, at a bare minimum, shouldn't expect the U.S. to be, the supplier of their munitions if something were to go down. They should take that responsibility into their own hands and build the infrastructure to, create the munitions, and also spend the money to stockpile more of it. Because in both of these commissions, and I feel like I'm going to see this a lot, is the U.S. does not have a strong capacity right now for if something were to happen tomorrow that is bad. They firmly believe that regardless of, the political side, they could, get money appropriated to, building the manufacturing to get this stuff done. But it would take a significant amount of time to get the factory up and running, and also get it running at, a optimal capacity, because we have so few doing that these days. And they did say to offset some of these costs, the one good thing that they said that they would take out of China, which I kind of think is a little off, is, China has a very good system going with its public and private munition manufacturers. And I'm sitting here kind of thinking, like, well, it's a communist country. Even if it is so-called private, all they have to do is say, you have to do this, or we'll replace you with someone that will say, yes, we'll do this. If you want to stay in your spot, they're probably going to say, yes, I'll get that done. We'll make it happen. So it might not be a bad idea if you have the money personally on your own. Get the ammo you need as quickly as you can. Uh, have the equipment that if you buy it in bulk, making rounds yourself can be cheaper than purchasing them in the stores. But if you buy the stuff to make them like 50 bullets at a time, then in a lot of cases you can get ammo cheaper. The better suggestion is, split this project up amongst friends and family. It can cost a lot of money to get into, that situation. But I will say, this being a prepping channel, you go out and you spend all this money on the reloading equipment and having, the casings and the bullets and the primers and all this powder and everything. Is it going to mean a whole lot if you've got a week's worth of food in your pantry? Or if your only water storage is a couple of collapsible 5-gallon containers that you take camping with you? So you need to find that nice balance between security and, food and water. Because I'll say it a lot, you're not going to be able to eat your bullets. Yes, you can use your bullets to go hunting, or, in our world, you're going to do just about anything you can for your family. So, you'll start to get feisty with the people that are still alive that have food. But I'd rather not be in that situation. I'll ride out the storm in my own comfort and make them have to come to me on my terms. Okay, we're good. But I think I have rambled on enough. So I'll say it again. If you enjoy these videos, leave a like and subscribe. If you've got friends or family members that would benefit from these discussions, share the channel with them. With that, catch you in the next one.